Love. Yeah, I have fun. My lady stomping around the house, so you know what that means. I gotta get my ass up off of here. It was fun as always. Shout out to the whole chat, you feel me? Shout out to
Man,
the big
fuck them niggas.
folks.
Don't shout them niggas out, bro. You give them niggas no acknowledgement, bro.
He said, fuck them niggas.
I'm bullshitting.
Lively.
This nigga funny as hell. I don't even want to leave, man. Nah, no cap, man. Nah, I love it over here, man. Love, man. Shout out Kid Funk, you feel me? I can't wait till we link up again. We gotta do something, man. We gotta get something popping, you feel me? It's gonna all work out in time, you know what I'm saying? Until next time, y'all stay humble, y'all stay hungry. And my black ass is all right, Kid Folk, I'll holler at you later, brother.
All right, bro.
All right.
Appreciate you for tapping in as always.
Oh man, no doubt, man. Appreciate the love. Appreciate that.
Damn, bitch, you was finna be gone already. That was my little wrap up. Get your Esther Green looking ass on somewhere.
Oh, Soylent Green, eat that.
Damn. I'm fucking on my little thing.
Oh my bad, nigga. Go ahead, do your thing.
She is like, I'm fucking with you, man. Alright, nigga, what a nigga say bye? A nigga say bye, alright, then a nigga gone.
Man, I don't want to leave.
Nigga say, nigga want to stay. Nigga, shit, niggas don't gotta go if they don't want to go. Shit.
Nah, but shit, it's all good though. Nigga.
We on this motherfucker, man.
You gonna call some
This nigga say, all right. Then he still listening the whole time. Like, right, get your ass out of here, dog.
Oh, what got it?
Niggas gonna say all the key words. All right, my nigga. Nigga still got his ear tuned in. Get your goof ass up out of here, dog.
Chill.
All right, my nigga, I'm good.
All right. This nigga funny as hell.
Yeah, hustling. Crazy. What you mean, man?
Shit. Bro, this is a legendary live tonight. You better not leave us. What if I do?
Stop. Oh man. Listen,
But
man, that man go get some sleep, man. Or you can stay up either way, man. Yo, Ken Folk, you already know we salute you, man. But listen, here for this energy, here for this vibe too. I ain't even gonna cap to you, bro. I'm still trying to crack this code. This mask, this rubber mask code, bro. I think these numbers is trying to get at cats, bro. I don't know how much time cats got left, bro. You feel me? Jesus died at 33. I don't know. Man, I'm gonna let Kid Folk talk, man. I don't got nothing to say right now.
I don't know what that look like. You don't even know what that look like. Bro, I almost died working at that job, bro. I almost died.
Like, yo, a part of me be wondering how far the rabbit hole go with this situation, man. Somebody in the chat said, yo, yeah, I believe that shit too. I don't know, bro. And then the first question would be, yo, is she white doing blackface? No, she blackface putting on all this extra baggy stuff. So then it's like, look at her. I mean, listen, man. It's one of those things that you can't really put your mind on, because that joint just it's meant to captivate. You know what I'm trying to say? That joint meant to captivate your whole attention, man. So I can't even be on that type of time too long. But what we can get on is this joint right here. And its symbol. I'm going straight to the symbol. The symbol and the saying, the motto, the world of tomorrow. That was for the World Fair of 1939. Type shit. I'm more intrigued about what's a trilon and a perisphere. You know what I'm talking about? What's a trilon and a perisphere? My bad. I'm just on this hunt, man. That's all. I'm on this hunt. Trying to find a lot of numbers in this. That's a fact. I'm trying to find a lot of numbers there. Ah. The trilon and the perisphere were two monumental modernistic structures designed by architects Wallace Harrison and J. Andre Fullerhooks that were together known as the theme center of the 1939 World Fair, New York World's Fair. The perisphere was a tremendous sphere, 180 feet in diameter, connected to the 610-foot spire-shaped trilon by what is at the time the world's longest escalator. That shit was an escalator? Diorama. No. No lie. If you never walk by this building right here, like this picture don't even do it justice, bro. This picture don't even do it justice. I ain't even gonna hold you. Like, for me, it kind of do justice because I remember, you know what I'm saying? I done seen that building, bro. Like, walk by it many a times, and it's amazing to walk by. And then looking at the picture is like, damn, that shit really is something. But it's even more of a something in person, like this shit right here, this building right here. Fuck. Crazy. But yeah, nah. Just running through this, seeing what's up with it. I'm not doing that either. We said we're not doing that. Hold on, did I pause this? Great. We're not doing this. I'm trying to see something real quick. Design case studies. Man, let me stop and let me roll up, because if I just keep on reading, I'm just going to be here all day. So, boom, I know a better way to go about this, right? I'm going to pull up straight from the files. Oh, you didn't know I had a file? Of course I got files, man. I be in the company of greatness, bro. Of course I got files. Cut it out. Cut it out, bro. Stop the bull. So, on the U.S. depth clock, I'm going to it right now. Matter of fact, let's pull it up on this. Let's pull it up on this real quick. Somebody just sent me something. I just want to see if it's. Was it this yesterday? Wait, hold on. What's going on here? Was it this yesterday? Tell you, once I start looking at certain stuff, man.
Freedom, the final frontier. These are the voyages of source souls in the third dimensions. Its eternal mission is to explore all possibilities, to seek out and create and form new ways to express source, to boldly go where no soul has gone before. guys. I just want to have a quick update from what I'm hearing on my military side. Um, Listen, there has been a joint effort, and it's going to be a joint exercise that everybody's talking about between China, Russia, and South Africa. Their navies are joining together to start an operation at the beginning of February or the middle of February. Nobody knows, but they know it's preliminary reports is that they are going to start in February, somewhere around that. Some even was saying February 17th. I really can't confirm what day, and I'm pretty sure they're not putting out the right date anyway because this is a very high sensitive operation. And some was saying that it's not for Ukraine. So I'm thinking maybe it's from something that maybe they're doing in South America. I can't confirm that, but a lot of people are saying that that's what the chatter is out there, and they're having they're gonna be using. They don't even have to get close to South America to use these missiles that they got. They're using hypersonic missiles, and one of them is called I think it's called Zycon. The Zarkon. Okay, and it's capable of 7,000 miles an hour, but they have a long range of 6,000 miles. That's a long way, man. That's so, and they said that it's very accurate. So, but that's not the one that you should worry about because they also have the fastest one that they have on this ship, the Avangard, which can reach speeds of up to 21,000 miles per hour. But it's not, the range is not that good. I mean, it's only like 3,000 miles of range for that. But yeah, so you got the Avangard, and you got also the Chinese working with the Russians also, and that's more proof that the alliance is working with these countries. I mean, they are the alliance. I mean, and these countries are being used along with support from the Americans. All right. I know y'all heard about Biden talking about the fake Biden saying that he's going to send tanks over. That's all freaking crap. You know, I think the Ukraine war is practically over, and they're not going to announce it yet. But they have recovered what they need to recover. They destroyed all the freaking biolabs, and the only thing left is a few insurgents that mercenaries that are on the run somewhere. So I don't think that war is going to be. They would probably string it out as a freaking proxy to basically do other missions, but from what I'm hearing, it's practically over in Ukraine. All right, and I told you what was over there before: Devil's Mountain, the Devil's Gate. That was one of the headquarters of the now gone reptilians that they have removed. I mean, whew, there's a lot of things going on, man, and we don't even really can't fathom. All right, so stay tuned and listen to this. This is a blast from the past. I hope I found this on one of my hard drives. I thought it would be very interesting because I did put a video out on YouTube when I did this, and this was a part of that. I'm finding a whole lot of old stuff, and when I find old stuff that I think that my continuing growing beautiful patriot audience here need to know, yes, I will give you a blast from the past. You know, usually I say the dates in these things. Some I didn't, and I'll just tell you it was from whenever. But listen to this, and it was about an operation that most of you probably never heard of, and I've been doing this a long time, and I basically, even I at that time, it was kind of shocking, but I got this from some people that used to work in the Pentagon and was in intelligence, so they told me about this, and you guys should hear about it, and it's got something to do with JFK. So, hey, peace.
They trying to push my top back like JFK. So I JFK. Joined forces with the Kings and we ate all day.
Takes a lot. You know, I don't need to stay on here for an hour or two. Probably between 5 and 20 minutes is enough, and then I'll make another one if I have
That's
to.
not me talking.
Because there's so much information coming in. I'm trying to organize it and put it into context. And,
let's do this again.
Try to get it to you guys. So thank you for listening.
In here. That ain't me talking. You know my vibe. You know my vibe. You know my voice.
Hey guys, it's June 1st, 2017, and this is your fellow Sovereign. And listen, I hear that Trump is trying to get rid of the Fed, and it reminds me of a story that I did a few years back about the 5-Star Trust. And in that story, I told you guys that the 5-Star Trust was one of the reasons.
My bad.
Conspired to basically take out JFK.
They're trying to push
JFK was a certified white hat at the time, and I believe he infiltrated the Democratic Party to actually do what he was designed to do, and that's to take down the Fed and the CIA and the corrupt Nazis. But when Eisenhower was president from January 20th, 1953 to January 20th, 1961, the 5-Star Trust was set up by the CIA. It consisted of 5 top men. I think it was George Bush Sr., hint, 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 Richard Amberich, General Edward Lansdale, William Colby, and General Robert Farrar. All right. And the objective of the 5-Star Trust was to set up the largest drug and money laundering system in the world. Okay. The world had never seen this type of money laundering and drug trafficking conglomerate, which was set up by our own people. Well, not our own, but by the corrupt CIA. It was called Operation Studebaker and Operation Clean Room. Operation Clean Room was the money laundering part of it. Now, this was run out of Kentucky by a gentleman named Marion Horn. And the main objective of this operation was to create money for the CIA so that they wouldn't have to ask Congress for money, which would divulge what the CIA plans were. And they couldn't have that happen because they were doing some really foul shit back then. Now, the objective was to set up a drug running operation and put all the money into a conglomeration of banks set up by the crooked Rothschilds and the 13 banking families known as the 5-Star Trust. Now, once this was all set up, then Kennedy came into office and he warned us of a massive conspiracy that scared him so bad that he created the United States Special Forces. And he began working with the people to try to remove the Federal Reserve to get us back on the gold standard. Does that sound familiar or what Trump is doing right now? Okay. It's believed that is why, and one of the reasons why JFK was actually murdered. He also said that he was going to splinter the CIA in 1,000 pieces. All right. So this was an inside job, which was basically, I hope they declassify this soon. All right. Because Trump said he would. And it would expose George Sr. Bush, who worked for the CIA at the time. Now, eventually, George Bush Sr. became head of the CIA, and Reagan takes office and sees this whole thing going on and warns the American people with several speeches. He talked about Christianity and how if we ever became an atheist country, a socialist dictatorship under an atheist regime, the United States would go down. Reagan tried to do everything he could do to stop what was going on. and Reagan had his own assassination attempt on March 30th, 1981. Had that been successful, George Bush Sr. would become the president of the United States earlier than planned. Instead, he would run after Reagan's 8-year term, in which he would become president and begin his work to bring in the New World Order. So, the plan to put George Bush Sr. into office of the president was a long-range warfare objective, and that finally got their guy into the seat. And if you remember, Bush Sr. was most known for his war on drugs. But that was to cover because he was running drugs from Afghanistan and all the Middle East. That's why they call him Poppy Bush, okay? Because he was the king of the poppy fields. And so now that we know the backstory of the Five Star Trust, we can see he was involved in this way earlier than when he got into the Middle East. Now, the plan of the Five Star Trust, once this drug money and laundering system was all set up, was to empower the United Nations to institute a global tax on everyone. And at this particular juncture, there was $230 quadrillion in the sustainable fund that these guys were using as a black ops shadow government bank account. Okay, think about that for a minute. This could be why the shadow government is so powerful today. The president is merely a puppet unless he's one of them. You dig what I'm saying? Like Obama and Clinton and Bush Jr., they were all part of the cabal. At this point, the CIA was going to be used to go in and soften up other countries, and the New World Order effort was being launched out of the White House. They were using our military to soften up other countries so they could go in and do their dirt, take over their assets, and actually initiate them into the New World Order. Now, there's a lot of detail on this, but, I just want to just say, man, you think about all the events that happened up until recently, in all of these were CIA ops, okay? And you know what I think? I've been telling you, I think that it's a bunch of off-worlders that has been controlling the CIA. They don't seem to be human. These off-worlders, they start wars. And just think about what the CIA has been involved in. Just to name a few, is the Congo, the Dominican Republic in 61, Laos in 60, the Dominican Republic from 65 to 66, Indonesia in 65, you got Ethiopia and Chile in 1970, Bolivia, and look at all these countries. They all turned communist, right, when they went in. Angola, Zaire in 77 and 78. You have Afghanistan from 79 to 89. That's Poppy. That's where he was doing his thing. All right. Poland in the 80s. You have Poland, El Salvador, Chad, Nicaragua, Grenada, Panama. And in the 90s, you got Iraq and Haiti and Zaire. And in the 2000s, you have Yugoslavia, Venezuela, Iraq, Palestine territories. This is one of the evilest organizations on the planet Earth, the CIA. And it should not be even part of our country. What good do they do if they're out there starting wars and they're out there causing death and destruction? What good are they? All right, this is my short take for today. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, icons, I want to bring your attention to stories like this and how I try to decipher who is doing it. Okay, and I want you guys to read along with this story with me because this is ludicrous. They said that Minnesota House passes a 100% clean energy bill, which is basically saying that Minnesota is committing suicide. Why? Because the Minnesota House passed legislation after 7 hours of debate late Thursday night that would require the state's electricity grid to be 100% carbon free in 17 years. What do y'all see that's kind of funny in this statement here? Is it 100% carbon free? Hell yeah, that's funny. But how are they going to do that? I'll get to the why in a minute. But 100% carbon free. Do they know that carbon is everywhere? What are they going to do? Cut down every tree? Also? No, the plants are just going to be charged. The plants are just going to be carbon. How are you going to do that? It's virtually impossible. But I'm just going to give it, let's say they can. All right? That would kill everybody in that state. That would kill everybody in that state. And they wouldn't have no electricity because what are they going to use? Wind? They don't want to use nuclear power because they say that's too dangerous, which is not. It's one of the safest powers on the planet if you use it right. But what I want to say, I think this is a white hat just to show people how stupid these people were going to be and all these reptiles. Because anybody who voted for this bill is a reptile. And they probably exposing them as reptiles. All right? All these people here, 1, 2, 3, 4 reptiles. You know why I say? Because I look at little key things like 17 years. Why 17 years? Why not 20? Why not 16? Why not 18? Specifically 17 years. We know what the 17th letter is, Q. So I just wanted to let you guys know when y'all see little things, look for clues. You know, they'll give you clues because the Alliance and the White Hats, they also have a sick sense of humor too. Sound like something that I would be doing. Like when they had Joe Biden come out with his mask falling. One ear was gigantic, the other one was small and attached. The other one was gigantic and loose. They might have him put it on backwards one day. Would they believe that that's the real Joe Biden? Yeah, Joe Biden. No, that's the back of his head. He's walking straight. Me and Jules was cracking up because we was thinking of ways if we was in charge, how would we wake the normies up? What could we do? That would be outrageous and funny at the same time. Y'all know I could do it. Oh my God, I would have a ball. Come on, White Hats, please come and get me. Come and get me. I need to work with you guys so I can expose. Yeah, that's that damn Sarge again. It's gotta be. Got Joe Biden out there looking like Big Mike. Oh, sorry guys. I have to have some fun. Guys. All right. On to the next story. Okay, guys. I don't have much to say about this. But I don't know if this is a false flag or is it for real. But if it's for real, it's pretty sickening. It's like another George Floyd type of situation where they pulled this young man out of the car because he was reckless driving. See, this is what I mean by going back to divine law. You know, reckless driving is not something what this young man should have lost his life for if he lost his life. I'm not saying that he didn't, but I'm just basically saying that if this is true, that it shouldn't have happened. Driving recklessly. And there's a twist, and I'm going to let y'all guys see the twist. The difference, I want y'all to notice something different about this police killing than the George Floyd one. Just let me show you this for a minute. Watch.
Hoping that preparing the community would in some way help here. Now, the video coming in now, it is very difficult, and we're going to not show very much of this. This is what our team has been able to screen so far. The first video is of Nicholas being pulled into the car. first video, again, he was being pulled out of the car, and obviously we had to bleep some of the audio there. But that was the moment he got pulled from the car initially after the stop. Now, the next video is of Nichols on the ground being pepper sprayed, calling out for his mother. Here it is. Hey, give me your hand. Give me your hand. Why you spraying it?
Look at these tires. If they are, this is true.
We should note that there is more than an hour of video, 67 minutes worth, multiple police body cameras. Tyree Nichols' family has already viewed the images earlier this week, saying that it showed the officers brutally beating their son. His mother was unable to watch, had to leave the room. The officers fired and charged with second-degree murder, among other charges as well. They had claimed that he was initially pulled over for alleged reckless driving before running from the car. The police chief, though, saying so far they have found no proof that he should have been stopped. FBI Director Christopher Wray saying he watched the video and was, quote, appalled by it. Those 5 full police officers facing several charges, including murder of Justin Smith, Desmond Mills Jr.
Oh, what we have here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the same color as Mr. Tyree Nichols. How they gonna spend that? Because I'm hearing people say, "Hey man, it's gonna be another George Floyd, man. Hey, we gonna ride, man, and kill another black man, man. They're gonna kill another black man." Yeah, if they did, they should get the death penalty for this shit. But look at this. There's no white guys. How are they gonna come out there and say Black Lives Matter? Black Lives Matter. Black on black, baby. What's going on? Black Lives Matter. I'm just saying. Is this a false flag? I have no idea. But it's going to be hard to spin this. You guys agree? Unfreaking real, man. Traffic violation. You lose your life. I hate to say this, but I can't be relieved that this young man lost his life over some stupid.
The question is, what do you owe? How much money does every single citizen in the United States owe for?
Because there is not a white police officer involved. Our country don't need that, and they could do it. I mean, this is all these minions got left, is to pull false flags that gets everybody all riled up to tear up the country. Because something is getting ready. This shit happened back in October. Why are they releasing it now? Are they preparing for something that's coming towards their way to get the people all riled up? And this is the best they could do? I want to see comments. What do you guys think, man? What do you guys think? Hey guys, I just want to ask you a question. Do you guys like me doing like regular news most of the time? I try to stay away from topics like that because I have to rebuild my IQ now, because just doing that, it drops my IQ about 10%. And it really takes a toll on me when I go and look at the stupidity that's going on in the regular news and what's going on in the normie's life, you know, that I hate to see. But I'm going to take a poll with you guys with the comments. Should I do regular news? Like, let's say once or twice a week, put a new spin on it, you know, keep some humor in it. I'm trying to ascend, so it's going to be hard not to call out some of the big dummies and everything. But I'm going to try my best to keep it clean and keep it gully, as they say in the streets, okay? But I want to end this today because, I was just thinking, man, for the normies, this is just for the normies, man. What do you think about, how's this Ukraine thing working out for you? And I know me and you guys know that it's all a front for the white hat operation. But for the normies, they think this is really a war going on. But I want to know, what is their reason to think that the government is sending billions of your money, or supposedly sending billions of your money over there, okay, for what? To a small province called Ukraine. Because not only is there no threat from Russia that is independent of American stupidity, with the stupid Democrats that know that Putin knows all the bad shit that they tried to do because they colluded with Russia. All right, just like that that FBI agent that was just freaking arrested the other day, who was blaming Trump for colluding with Russia, and he really was colluding with Russia. And there's a lot more. He's not the only one. Probably the whole top tier of the FBI is going to be arrested. Too bad Comey's not around to see this. He's freaking gone. They guillotined his ass, okay, because of what he was doing with homeless people around the country, picking up homeless people off the street and testing them with guillotines. Him and Obama, pieces of shit, okay? And a lot of those people were veterans. It's a piece of shit. So let me just say, man, and I doubt that many Americans, even the masses that's stuck with the vaccine smuggery and obsessive Trumpophobia, or believe that America's Ukraine project is working out for us, man. Because, of course, to begin with, about thinking about this debacle, you must at least suspect that our government is lying about virtually everything it has its hand in, people. I'm talking to you normies. Name something that the government is not lying. I dare you. I dare you to think of anything that they're not lying about. So what is the Ukraine project about? This is what you should ask yourself. And to use that sad-ass country, Ukraine, as a vector to disable and destroy Russia? The absurdity of that they're going to send your money over there so that little Ukraine can take on the big bear. When the full force of America, if they had let's say if it was America versus Russia, that would be almost fought to a standstill. I think America would come on top in the end, but it would be like, But little Ukraine? Are you kidding me? You just can't overstate the stupidity of that objective, man. And why did we want to do that? What are the reasons? What were they? Russia was what? I know you don't have any. What was Russia doing? Trying to take over the world? Oh no! Oh, it was actually trying to be a normal European nation again after its traumatic 75-year-old experiment with communism, which ended in 1991. I served in Russia. Those people are beautiful. They're lovely. They treated me like a specialty. I mean, I had fun, guys. I was single and free. That's all I'm gonna say. But they were doing pretty well under Putin. Yes, they were. I mean, Russia they gave back property rights a long time ago. They made private business lawful again, and they allowed their citizens to basically move about freely. Russia wasn't threatening any other nation, most particularly not as this little bitty ass Ukraine. It had even invited Ukraine to be a sovereign member of its trade association. Y'all remember that? I guess you don't, because Americans don't know shit about what's going on nowhere else but in their backyard. They don't know nothing about what's going on the TV with football. And that's not to say that it's just America. European nations too. Everybody's dumbed down because they're not watching anything. So what set off the maniacs in the United States War Department under Secretary John Kerry? He's also known as a haircut in search of a brain. That long chin, reptilian. I know he's a reptilian. So I know this is all proxy, but I'm telling this to for the homies. Even let's say if there wasn't the white hats doing this. And these people were still going along with it. Your country interfering again with another country's business. Ukraine used to be a part of Russia. Ukraine has even basically claimed sovereignty of itself. And you got also the crooked United States government over there overthrowing the legitimate president of Ukraine and putting in their own proxy, CIA. There goes the CIA again. I hope the military has taken all of them down. When they went in Langley, the Marines, they went in strong too. You guys don't understand. There was like 3 or 4 battalions that surrounded the CIA. And I heard that like, a lot of CIA agents and a couple of Marines died. But they took that shit serious. And listen, I'm hearing on Real World News that the FBI tried to run up in Camp Pendleton to arrest some Marines that was at January 6th. Good luck with that, you pieces of shit. I don't know if that's facts. Is that just a joke? But what if they did? The Marines said, "You're not coming up in here. You're not. You don't have no jurisdiction here." And I'm gonna tell you personally, we do not lack anybody as a Marine. We don't lack any of these people coming into working in our business. Marines take care of their own. We don't allow no outsiders to come in. I don't care if you're the sheriffs, you the FBI, the CIA, you gonna get it, okay? You bring your ass up on a base. What balls these people have? You're gonna come up on a base with over 5,000 Marines just itching to kick some FBI ass, and they come up there with their little two-piece shooters. Go read the story on Real Raw News. It's funny as hell. So we'll be back. We'll be waiting for you.
And then he started doing that. Hands, like, nah.
All right, guys. Let me know if you like me doing normal ass story. This is really boring, but I will do it for you guys once in a while, just for you guys, because you guys treat me so well. I read all your comments; they're so loving. I just, you make a tear come down old Sarge's eye. Don't you tell nobody that shit either. Ain't no crying in the Marine Corps. I'm telling you. But anyway, I really thank you guys for supporting our channel. I really, I love it. You know, I love this size of the channel and this size of the audience and the small views that I get. You know, sometimes I might get 10,000, 20,000, if that. I love it. Because when I was doing good on YouTube and getting thousands and thousands of views, up in the $60,000, $70,000 views a day, I wasn't getting any money from YouTube because they banned me from monetizing anything because of my content. But it was like, the most thing is that I love the comments. You guys love to, and I keep telling you guys, put your voices out there, because then you can basically have a record of what you're feeling, because your thoughts count. Your thoughts really do count. And it shows what side you're on. Now, there's a few of you out there that's still on there trolling, but we welcome you too. We love trolls. We're going to cuss your ass out, but we love trolls. We wouldn't know what to do without you trolls. Oh, that damn Sarge with his conspiracy theories. Oh my God. I don't even know what to say, because what do you say to conspiracy theories? You can talk, you can make the, I don't know what to say to make them look, they just opening their mouth, they look those. Because what is the word conspire means? Conspire is the opposite of expire. Expire means without
breathing, not to breathe. Conspire means with breath. So you're talking. I've never seen anyone talk without breathing. Yeah, I'm a conspiracy theorist. Yes, thank you. I'm conspiring and I'm talking about some shit that one or two people are probably plotting to do. Like the vaccine.
You look like a handsome boy.
We were telling you people like, oh,
You hear me?
don't know what to say because
You hear that?
you guys,
Yeah.
we should have took the vaccine. You guys should have warned us a little bit more. I saw some comments. Yeah, the hell is wrong with you people? We should have warned you more. Really? I don't want to bring that up again because it's stupid. I don't even want to hear you. Probably some little, oh God, I knew I shouldn't have took the vax. They warned you. We warned you, dudes. Okay? Don't give me that shit. We warned you over and over again. We warned you about the dumbass mask too. When you find out you're going to pass out and die from that shit, maybe you stop wearing them too. We blame you for the lockdowns because if you did not consent, we wouldn't have been going through this shit. See, I digress. Hey guys, good night. Thank you. All right. That's why I don't like, but listen, man, just give me an idea because I'm going to have a lot of time on my hands in the coming month because I think something's about to pop off. Sorry. Especially with this good, I don't say it's good news, but they released, this thing happened with the Thai, with a young kid, happened months ago. And they now just releasing the video. Usually when they do that on a Friday too, they are expecting something to pop off. So that's the way they always do things. That's all I'm saying. So peace, love, truth, and prosperity to everybody out there. Have a beautiful weekend.
So I would think, that
What? Illegitimate Administration's Director of National Economic Council, Brian Deci was hanged Wednesday afternoon after a military tribunal at Guantanamo Bay convicted him of treason for sabotaging the nation's food supply. As reported earlier this month, U.S. Marines on January 5th arrested Dees following a 3-month probe that showed he had intentionally manufactured a food crisis that inflated the cost of poultry and eggs. A sworn statement of probable cause alleged Dees instructed the Food Safety and Inspection Services, which oversees the poultry industry, to kill tens of millions of hens under the pretext of curbing avian influenza. What the hell? Oh, where's this Michael Baxter go? What the hell? Okay.
Is it good? It's probably the worst beef rib I've ever had. I almost broke my jaw trying to eat off the rib. It's worse. This tastes like it came straight out of the microwave in the freezer. This is chicken. What the hell is this rat meat? But the one chicken looks weird. Like, why does the skin taste like human flesh?
Yo.
These are innocent ones. If I can be honest, I don't even want to try these. It's not feeling it, right? So the heating sauce is surprisingly alright. It is a little sweet, and surprisingly, it tastes good. But the damn chicken is just not that it is, man. And it's not so much the meat; it's just the chewy, rat texture, mushy skin. I just can't get past. Complete waste of food. I forgot to get the cornbread. It tastes like it's been sitting up under somebody's desk on the floor for years. Y'all trying to
Yo, why did he go to BBQs in Bay Plaza and flame on like that? Yo, this is the worst fucking thing I've ever had. Yo, Buster said, what is this, rat meat? You just think that way in a box to get rats. Yeah, I think New York is so dirty that we just already eat rats. I mean, some people probably are, but yo, nah, that's what it is.
Was it copyright? Hey, Joe, hold on. I'm about to send this link to myself. This is very crazy. I'm just gonna turn the volume off.
No, you did not. I know you.
You know, they say you make it in New York, you make it anywhere. You make it to Las Vegas. You made it for a lifetime. The biggest stars.
Mariah Carey.
I'm bored.
Somebody had said, y'all remember when they had that Regent essay about Martin Luther and everyone wrote about Martin Luther? I
Me neither.
don't remember no questions about no fucking Martin.
At all. It must be some new thing.
Yeah, but I heard that they don't have Regents anymore. I thought that they stopped the Regents.
I don't know.
Last time I checked, they don't even do this shit anymore. Which is amazing, because why did we have to go through that stress? And then now niggas ain't even gotta fucking take the test anyway.
Not stress.
They said that shit was stressful.
Yeah, kind of, sort of.
That shit was stressful. You know, honestly, I mean, the only one that wasn't true for me was like history. That shit was easy. Rest of them shits, I mean, English was really that bad. It was mad.
I probably didn't even take Regents.
Fucking algebra had me fucked up.
Because Regents was what you took for the last credits.
Remember,
that
Regents
was like middle of
no
school.
Regents was like every class year had a different region to take, basically. Like I remember 9th grade we did living environment Regents.
Okay, yes.
The living environment, and you're supposed to do algebra, and I didn't take my algebra region that year. I missed it. I only took my living environment region, so I ended up having to take my algebra region later.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next year you do what's her name? The next year you do I think U.S. history.
Take shit.
No, I'm not mistaken. Like senior year is probably the only year you don't have to do regions. And that's if you already did them.
Take shit.
So.
And you have to get like a certain amount, right?
Yeah, you have to pass. You have to pass. At one point, you had to pass with or higher than a 55, and then they changed it to you had to pass with higher than a 65. Because I remember I took the fucking algebra regions like twice. Because the first time I missed it, the second time I took it, I think I got 64 and that shit. And then I had to take it again. I hated that shit. Algebra, that shit was fucking nuts. And I still don't remember that shit. No, that football. I never used that shit.
Right. You just beating him like a dog in the street. What's a secret you never told your ex?
A secret I never told my ex is her brother tried to fuck me.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Her brother? How did this happen?
Yeah, he came over. I was burning the sage. As I was burning the sage on the balcony, he walked over to me like, this is the best day of my life. And I'm giving him chills. Then he grabbed my ass and said, if you tell my sister I'm in the cartel.
What?
Crazy. You remember you played that one time before. Sounds crazy even the second time.
My sister, I'm in the cartel.
No, if you tell my sister I'm in the cartel.
I just said that.
Like, not if you tell my sister I'm in the cartel. It's if you tell my sister, listen, I'm in the cartel. Like, that's crazy. Burning sage on the balcony couldn't stop that demon. That motherfucker crept up. Part of my language.
No, this Shannon Sharp meme is really like top tier. Have you seen it? Yeah. Yo, whoever caught this picture, that's why I want to get a photography because this meme worthy. Okay, you know how many memes I've seen so far with this shit, and it gets funnier every single fucking time.
Oh god.
Yo, it gets funnier every time. Now I'm about to go look up. Yo, just look them up because, yo, that shit. Let's see. Sure. Name this shit in Sharp album.
That shit do look like an album cover. Oh,
If I wish a motherfucker would was a person.
You look like a grandma. Like, the kids is acting up. Just fed.
Yo, it's the that shit is nah. That shit is funny as fuck. Where are the views? Hold on, because that shit, nah, like why? They must have planned that because there's no way. There's no way.
I don't know if I'm just high or if watching these numbers go is just very interesting. The total U.S. debt is 93 trillion. Real time, 924,284,085,000,000 now. And it's just going up. That the hundreds of thousands by the second. Hundreds of thousands by the second. It's like 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, 4, 5, 6, 7, 800,000, 900,000, 10, boom, another million. 290 million. 93 trillion, 224 billion, 292 million, and the hundreds of thousands just keep going and going and going. And then we all share debt. No matter, even if we aren't in debt, they put all the debt. So total personal debt is 24. What's that? Oh God. What is that? Is that trillion too? So the total personal debt is 24,296,410,000,000, and then the thousands just keep tens of thousands, keep going and counting. So that means each individual person in the total. So each one of us because the personal debt per citizen is $72,602. Jesus, what the? How does that even work? Or am I bugging? Am I not counting the commas right? 1,000, 100,000, million, billion, 1,000, 100,000, million, billion. What the fuck? That don't make no sense. How's the state debt 1 billion, but the local debt is 2 billion? How's the city debt more than the state debt?
You think about it. You're talking about where?
Here, I guess. Or yeah, anywhere. I would think that it knows my location, so it would be here. But even if it ain't, like, how is the local debt more than the state debt? The Bronx debt is more than the state debt.
Yeah, because the inner city has more people, more properties, a lot more things in it than around the state. If you really think about it, states is usually less populated. The state itself, especially in New York, places like Poughkeepsie, Newburgh, upstate Florida, shit like that, is not as populated as the city. So think of how many people are just located in the city locally.
What I would think that the state is dealing with the debt, and then the local is bringing income more so than bringing debt.
But the I would think that local has its own debt already with everything that it has, and then with everything that is not being accumulated. Like, you got to think about it, like, as far as like tourism and shit like that. Like, they're making money, but they're not making money how they were making money before. So they're actually shelling out more money. You know how much money it costs to have these businesses on places like 42nd Street? It costs millions of dollars for that. So they're losing money because they're not making the revenue, and you're just paying out more money to have your business stay afloat. Like, you're not making money. After COVID, or during COVID, when COVID happened, that shit shut a lot of shit down. So, to me, it makes a lot of sense for the city to be in far more debt than the entire state. Makes a lot of sense. Way more people in the city.
It just bugs me out because I'm here so I guess I need to think of it as a state, as a different entity from the actual physical place. Like, the state has its own thing going on, and the city is the physical place. So it's like, because if I'm thinking of the state as the physical place, then I'm thinking of it. Then if the city is in the state accumulating that debt, and there's another city in the state accumulating that debt, wouldn't that clump up into the state debt?
No, because you gotta think of it like they're separating it usually, because this is how it's normally separated. You have New York City, and then you have New York State, and they are the same but separate. The city is referring to the inner city, the 5 boroughs. The state is referring to all of the places surrounding. That's the state. Like, Westchester County, that's in New York State. It's not in the city.
So the state doesn't count the city.
The state counts the state, and then the city has the city. Like it's like that. Like it's this. It's within
But
the
they're
city is
separate.
within the state. So what goes on in the city, it accumulates within the state, but the state has its own dealings within the state because you have Schenectady. Like you have different places around New York State. So those places are the places that the state particularly focuses on when it comes to dealings like that. And then you have the city. But
Okay,
the
so
state
it's
is the one
more
that
so like
dictates what happens in
the
the city.
state has places that balances out New York City's in the local spending. So if you have the city going on fire, buying things, debt raising up because nobody's buying it back type shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you got a city, I mean, all right, you got the New York City doing that, and then you got Poughkeepsie over here, just chill, slow motion. Money just being recycled, Debt is significantly low there. So it kind of waters down the numbers in the state view compared to no in the local view though, shit is still on fire. Kind of shit makes sense in that aspect. You know what I'm saying? Like, because if you, it's like adding. So boom, right? It's like the local debt is $2 billion, but the state debt is $1 billion, so that's -$2 billion, -$1 billion. But then there's probably a city where the local debt is fucking like the opposite, flipped over, where it's like, nah, motherfuckers is rich in this city though. You know what I'm saying? And in that city, because the debt isn't in the negative numbers, it kind of averages shit out for the state. So I don't know where this number is. There are two main types of municipal bonds: general obligation bonds and revenue bonds. Gold bonds are backed by general taxation. What does that have to do with it? That's local debt and state debt. It's the same thing. I don't know if it's for this location or if they're trying to say that in general, though. I really don't know. I'm trying to understand what this mean. Like, I don't think this number was that yesterday. Matter of fact,
And you know what? When it comes to debt, they could also be talking about the depreciation of the city. So that would also put them in debt because they have to pay to rehab that, like buildings and bridges.
but then the state would then depreciate too because they're getting
But
the
the state is
funding
not
to
going to
do that.
depreciate at the speed that the city would depreciate because there's more people within the city.
Oh, how does that work? There's more people in the city and another city, so that's combining in the state. I know it's different. It's just hard to.
Has its own.
It's like the state is
parameters,
dealing with the politicians,
Yeah.
and the city is dealing with
The state
people.
is the overhead
Mhm.
because they're the ones that give directive to the city.
Mhm. Right. That's crazy.
But then you realize that you have like different rules that apply in certain places. Like you have different rules in the city than you have in the state.
Yeah, because in a sense, that kind of looks like they're kind of profiting off of us losing.
Yeah.
The state, they have some. There has to be an incentive there where if y'all are funding us to lose money more so than y'all, it's something that I don't.
New York is a rat race. It's literally just a rat race. See who can get there fastest. Because it always like is interesting to see how some of the most expensive places are in like real estate wise.
Yeah.
Like go downtown, all of them shit.
Was just looking at a building in Park Avenue. That joint was crazy.
Millions. And then it's like it's a whole board that you gotta go through to even move in the first place. In a lot of those places, especially places like Park Avenue.
Yo, that's where the joint I was looking at was.
Like a homeowners association almost. But it's a board. And you have to have like I think good moral character. Like they go in. They really go in. If you have anything on your record, then now you can't. Like
Wiki.
Try someone else. Try someone else to do it.
U.S. debt clock. Nah. Shit, crazy. All that money going. Trying to see if anything is going up. Fucking spending is going up. That's what's going up, the spending. Oh, man. Total federal, state, local spending. Yo, this is crazy. Just looking at this shit is crazy, yo. What? Wait, that's just crazy, yo. Yo, I don't even understand. I understand, but it don't make no sense. So that means if you got $1 to your name, and that dollar means if you got anything, you're richer than the country. Because the country is in debt. And then when you think, who are we in debt to? China? Really? $93 trillion in debt to China? There's 22 million. There's 22 million U.S. millionaires. What the hell does this mean? Yo, this is madness. What is going on? Am I bugging? Is this US debt clock shit real? What? Wait. What? What? This doesn't make sense. Okay. The dollar to oil ratio in 1913 was 219 per barrel. Correct? All right, not correct like you would know that, but I'm just saying, I'm reading it all right off the dollar to oil ratio in 1913 was 219 per barrel. The dollar to oil ratio now is $0 per barrel. Now, this is what I'm trying to see real quick. Is if this just happened today. Yes, because I was just on this shit the other day, and I don't think that I'm really serious. That's what I'm trying to say. And then if that is the number, what does that mean? Like, what the hell does that mean? Like, boom. Boom. Here goes a nice. I wish I could get one from like yesterday or some shit, but this is somebody's shit from last year. The dollar to oil ratio, $72 per barrel. Dollar to oil ratio, 1913, 203 per barrel. Dollar to ratio silver, 13 per boom. Anyway, you got the picture, right? That shit was just last year. Fucking the US debt last year was 84 trillion. 84 trillion, 844 billion. You get it. The big number. I'm just trying to understand what the hell this means. Like, and what are they about to say? You know what? Should watch a video on it right now. See if anybody else covering this shit. Because I'm confused. Dead ass. Okay, here goes one from 13 days ago. This is your chance. Come on, bro. I didn't know ads. We're not doing that. But
there is one thing that we can count on continuing to go up and up and up, and that is this number right here. the U.S. national debt. We have a lot of other numbers that are continuing to go up as well too, but there's one number that has fallen dramatically, and this is here, $120 silver. It was $5,000 at one time. We're going to explain what's going on, hopefully, in this video as we explore. Before we get here, let's first take a look and see what we have going with some of these other numbers that we know we can count on to continue to go up. That is U.S. federal tax revenue. Yes, they're taxing us, and they're, as well as taxing us through inflation, they are actually taxing us big time as well too. I know, I pay quarterly. It's insane. A lot of money of my money goes to the federal government, as well as state revenues as well too. That number is climbing as well. We have also U.S. federal deficit spending, which is climbing dramatically. In fact, when we take a look at the debt to GDP ratio, it is now at record highs we've not seen since World War II. In fact, at one point it was 129%. It's pulled back a little bit here. Nonetheless, we are paying a lot. There's a lot of money being spent and a lot of debt being accumulated. And look here, the debt per citizen is $94,000, $94,190. The debt per taxpayer is $246,866. Man, it's insane what's going on there. So, but one number that's gone down dramatically is the dollar to silver ratio. And again, notice I'm not saying that this means that silver is $120 per ounce. That is how it's listed there. This means there's $120 bills printed for every ounce of silver that is produced in the world per year. There's a year-over-year increase in the M2 money supply. How much money they printed more over of money they printed per year over divided by the yearly world production of silver. So it's about an increase, the year-over-year increase. And that is the key here as we try to understand the debt clock here. Because for the first time ever, this metal here, we're seeing it, increase slightly. I think for 2023, it's projected to increase by 1%. Of course, the demand for it's going to be much greater.
So Tasha K went live to address Blueface's mother. But you remember, she did a whole interview with Blueface's mom. But you're not hearing the shit that she's saying right now. Like,
switch sides real quick.
Nah, because I'm going to bring it back. Because
Rashawn came and pitched you, right on you. And you still. Oh, she want to go live now? And you still seem to think it's Krishan Rock's fault. It's your son's fault. The same way you had the men was weighing your pussy out and having you going crazy. Remember when you were saying in our interview that you was just like Krishan, that you could see your spirit in her? You was wild, so your son is actually attracted to who you used to be because you secretly want to fuck your son. You've always wanted a nigga like your son, but could never get one like your son to stay. So you went to suck on a little pussy because that was left over. Then you went back to fucking on your so-called husband. Now you got your so-called husband living with your son telling him to shut the fuck up, shut his old ass the fuck up. He shut up and he gonna sit in the back room, read a motherfucking newspaper in his rocking chair, okay, and clean up dirty panties, okay, after two drunkards, right? One you raised and the other you blaming, okay? Come on now, child. Come on.
why did she leave her like that?
But that's another story. But let's take a look at the money supply. You know, this is an unprecedented amount of increase in the M2 money supply that has happened. Now, this is going to something that is, again, especially since the pandemic, it has been exploding in the amount of currency that's been printed. Hence why we have inflation. And it would be worse if all that money stayed in the United States. But now let's take a look at what's happened in the last year. As you can see, as it's gone up, it is starting to come back down. down over the last year, less money supply. Now, what does this mean? I mean, they are printing dollar bills, currency, and minting coins. We've seen coins with the date 2022 on them. In fact, some of the Series 2017 notes that are circulating are brand spanking new, made this year. It's just that we've not had a Treasury Secretary until now, or a Treasury Secretary. And so those signatures will be made on the notes, and they've started producing those just in 2022, late 2022. Nonetheless, those will be coming. But in spite of that, there's a lot of dollars that are digitized as well. And this is why the currency supply and the money supply is going down. A lot of money is digital. It's in digital form. They're circulating in the banks and the like. And so that is what has led to that. And I think that means that the increase is pulling back from the last year. And so this is why I believe these numbers are down dramatically because of that. It means they're still printing a lot, but it's come down. You can see that the dollar to gold ratio has fell dramatically as well.
Hard. To really sit up there and call this man gay, basically. She really called it, and she said he liked men. So I think he secretly likes men, and he beats on women because he don't like you. Like, how you sitting up here on the internet telling somebody mom's that?
That's crazy.
Yo. Lord. She is out of line.
That's why Krishan asked him. Was it a guy or a girl? It makes sense why he beats on women or puts them out the way that he does. And you don't ever see Blueface online putting out his nigga. You don't ever see Blueface online putting out his favorite Crip walkers. You know? You don't put them out. They can stay inside. But Krishan gotta get out. But the men can stay. The boys can stay. And just like you said, you dabbled in some cooch. You raised that.
What's going on with the United States debt clock? Why does the United States debt clock have the dollar to oil ratio at 0, the dollar to silver ratio at 0, the dollar to gold ratio at 0? What in the world is happening? Do we need to go live to discuss this? Oh my gosh. What?
His own girlfriend.
Recordings just got better.
I feel really, really, really thirsty.
Yo, she had a line.
Hey guys, welcome to the Working Money Channel. Mac Attack XRP on Twitter posting this now. I know, we Bitcoin. People had an article centralized use cases being developed. We're seeing, more utilitarian reasons and less anarchistic reasons, I guess, for using cryptocurrency. Volume bars over here. So a lot of positive buying pressure, it mixed in with some selling pressure. I mean, we're still not really up and out of the bear market. Dollar to silver ratio, also $0 per ounce, and dollar to gold ratio, we also have a $0 per ounce ratio. And you guys can see in 1913, it was 28.52 per ounce, and silver was at $2.65 per ounce, and it cost $2.19 per barrel of oil. Now we're at zero, which doesn't really make sense because we do still have fiat currency, and we can still buy barrels of oil with the U.S. greenback, can we not? Coochbix also pointing this out, WTF, and VS Kamiyama here tagged me in this as well. So I've been seeing a lot of people posting this, the ISO GOAT, game, set, and match. Why, oh why are we at $0 for silver, gold, and oil specifically and exclusively? All the other figures, I have the debt clock up here, all the other figures are fully intact and moving as per usual. So what the heck is going on here? Mr. McKay XRP posting this. Does anyone know what this means? Are they repricing oil, silver, and gold? Well, utility FTW down here saying, don't overthink it. The website is not connected to the government in any way. Could be a number of reasons. It could be a glitch. It could be many things. Reasons for the zeros, least of which involves an unannounced plan to change. So, he's just saying, guys, it's a glitch, similar to what we see on crypto exchanges when we see XRP go up to $9,300 per coin, right? A glitch, right? But it does get us thinking, why are we seeing this now? And why has nobody seen this in the past? Is there something changing? Should we be alarmed at all? Well, looking at broader news in the global landscape, we know El Salvador is moving to Bitcoin. This is no secret. This has now been in the works for over a year, about a year and a half now. Spend the Bits is set to expand in El Salvador. So they are actually going to be using the Spend the Bits wallet, or Spend the Bits has entered the El Salvadorian market here. Here's just a tweet from Crypto Eddie demonstrating how Spend the Bits is entering the El Salvadorian market. This on the heels of El Salvador closer to realizing their dream of creating the Bitcoin city. So get this, guys. The Latin American country of El Salvador is closer to realizing its dream of creating the Bitcoin city. As per reports, crypto exchange Bitfinex will issue the country's long-awaited Volcano tokens this year in 2023. The Volcano token is basically a Bitcoin bond issued using blockchain technology and will trade on the Bitfinex exchange. Paulo Arduino, the chief technology officer of Bitfinex, said that he sees sufficient demand for the proposed $1 billion Bitcoin bond for El Salvador. Last month in December, El Salvador passed its controversial digital assets law. Under this law, the country would need to create a digital securities regulator and also draft the prospectus for potential investors of the $1 billion bond. So El Salvador, despite the criticism from the IMF and the World Bank, they're saying, no, we're moving along with Bitcoin. So, how does this relate to the US dollar? Well, on the surface, it really doesn't, but it is another factor of where the world is moving, guys. This just came out too a couple of days ago. Russian FM says the BRICS group is also considering now their own common currency. Now, we know the BRICS group has been working together, namely Russia and China, to create their own version of SWIFT. Well, now we're hearing about this. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said on Wednesday that Brazil, Russia, China, India, and South Africa, the BRICS countries, will discuss creating a common currency at the group's forthcoming summit this August in South Africa. Serious, self-respecting countries are well aware of what's at stake here. They see the incompetence of the masters of the current international monetary system and financial system and want to create their own mechanisms to ensure sustainable development. It is in this direction that the initiatives that have been voiced recently about the need to think about creating our own currencies within the framework of BRICS. So it's not just Brazil and Argentina now looking to create their own currency. It's not just Russia saying, hey, look, maybe we'll trade with a gold-backed ruble. It's not just China creating the digital yuan. Now it's the entire BRICS organization looking to create a common currency for trade. The minister added that Russia and Angola have a firm intention to develop cooperation in all areas despite illegal Western pressure. And note how they put illegal in quotes here because they just don't give a shit anymore. Lavrov said the West uses the same colonial methods with which it exploits developing continents and continues using them to plunder foreign countries and use resources of global importance to its advantage. All this to say, guys, that US dollar dominance is going down. So is this of any surprise to you? Or, I mean, could it be a glitch? Maybe it's just a glitch. Wall Street Silver here also posting this. US paid $853 billion in interest for $32 trillion in debt in 2022. More than the defense budget in 2023. If the Fed keeps rates at these levels or higher, we will be at 1.2 to about $1.5 trillion in interest paid on these debts. The US government collects about $4.9 trillion in taxes. The economics are just not making sense. Let me remind you of this article that came out last week, and I talked about it as well last week. Yellen says Treasury is taking extraordinary measures to avoid default as US hits their debt limit. And some of the key points here, the Treasury Department started taking extraordinary measures to pay federal government bills as the U.S. hit its debt limit on Thursday. That would be January the 19th. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said. Yellen is pushing Congress to pass a bill to lift the country's $31.4 trillion debt limit and expects the Treasury can keep paying its bills till at least June. But then, guys, what happens after June? A financial reset, dare I suggest the uber hyperinflation of the US dollar to a point where it becomes so worthless that we can't even really buy gold, silver, or oil, or, I mean, there's no real point in denominating these items in US dollars. Even just taking a look at the DXY as well, the US dollar currency index, we basically peaked in September of 22 last year, and we have been seeing a decline ever since. We've been holding support over here, but global currencies are gaining strength against the US dollar.
Let's explore your future with Udemy. You can learn how to program and build websites.
Is this also maybe a sign of where interest rates are going? I don't know. I mean, that's what's logical, but who knows why this is happening? I even took it upon myself. I mean, I thought to myself, okay, what were these numbers at before? So what I did was I copied the URL here and went to the Wayback Machine and posted that, decided to browse the history of the USDebtClock.org. And here it brings up some history, okay, of this website from between December of 2008 to present day. Now, I just took a random year here, 2019, before the beer flu, and I just took a random day here, June the 7th. And let's just take the first snapshot here. And I didn't think this thing was actually going to populate in real time, but as you guys can see here, it is. And the debt was counting up from way back in June of 2019. You guys can see today's is at 31 trillion. And back in June of 2019 was at 22.3 trillion. Sure enough, looking over here, guys, dollar to oil ratio was at 15.83 per barrel. Dollar to silver was at 592 per ounce. And dollar to gold was at 4,825 per ounce. Very different than what we are seeing today, which also gets me thinking about what we saw last week on January the 24th, breaking doomsday clock set to 90 seconds to midnight. I don't know if you guys caught this. I'll leave this clip in the description. Basically, they were unveiling the latest change to the doomsday clock, 90 seconds to midnight. And if you do believe in the theories that the world's biggest bankers rule the world, well, maybe this one's for you. The Economist from back in June of 2020. Okay, now The Economist, owned by the Rothschilds family, the biggest banking family on planet Earth. And in June of 2020, they were asking, what would the next catastrophe be? Well, this one from Michael Letts here on Twitter, The Economist, the next catastrophe from June 27th, 2020. If you zoom in on the clock, it appears to be where the doomsday clock was just reset, 90 seconds before midnight. From the magazine, again, June 27th, 2020. And then he writes here to February the 12th, 2023. He's 2 years, 230 days. Is the next catastrophe in the Phoenix area. Guys, take a look at that clock. Very, very close. 90 seconds to midnight. So is the next catastrophe in the Phoenix area? Are we about to see the Phoenix rise from the ashes from a hyperinflated US dollar? And when will we start to see XRP doing what it's supposed to be doing, moving all that money? That's just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.
Welcome back to another quick episode of Spaceman 2.0. And has anyone seen the USDeadClock.org? This website shows the true numbers of what's going on with all the economies in the world. And this is the US. You can go over here and get the US debt clock for the world. So then it shows all of the world's basic national debts, GDPs. Okay. But what has changed? This is totally new. And what you need to see is that before, as you can see down here, the dollar to oil, the dollar to silver, the dollar to gold. It says zero. Before it had the actual recommended amount it was. Now it says zero. Is there a reset about to take place? But look what else they added. This has never been here before. The dollar to crypto ratio. And then in the past, this shows what the past was. The dollar to crypto ratio from 2013. Why 2013? When Bitcoin came in 2008, 2009. 2013 was a special year, 10 years ago. And 100 years from 1913 when the Federal Reserve took over. And we have now a new system of money coming in using crypto and digital currencies. So what's going on here on the US debt clock? What are they trying to tell us by showing zero for silver, zero for gold, and having a new crypto to dollar ratio set on here? That's never been on here before. That's new. And having zero on the gold and the silvers. So something's happening with precious metals. I think they're going to be backing digital currencies so that everyone will be able to trust in them and fall in line and say, okay, I'll use them and get on board to the new asset class that's coming in, cryptocurrencies. So with that being said, people, take a good look at this website, USDeadClock.org, and check it out. See what starts to happen with these numbers over here. Why zero in red? Are they about to reset and make us pay quite a lot more for these precious metals? Not financial advice, entertainment purposes only. But silver might be the poor man's gold soon. Okay, take care and bye for now. I'm Spaceman 2.0 and I'm out.
dark spots, bags, and wrinkles. I use a product for my face. It's called Park.
Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Heard rumors that this would happen. We felt it in our bones. We've been reporting that this would happen. But let's see what in the world is going on with the United States debt clock. Hello, keep checking in, family. I see you. I see you, Catherine. I see Keith is here. I see Ragamuffin is here. Ooh, I see people from Alaska in the room. Hello, family members. Ooh, Pennsylvania's in the house. Hi. So, family, I'm going to slow down for a minute. Because when it all falls down. When it all falls down. When it all falls down. Hey, and when it all falls down. So watch the clock, everybody. Watch the clock. This is the United States debt clock. I'm going to try to calm down a little bit. Now, first, I'm going to let you see. I'm going to shrink it just a little bit. So that you can see, you can go to usdebtclock.org, download that to your cell phones and or your computer or any of your electronic devices. And now let's see what's going on here. We all know that the United States debt is over $31 trillion. Yes, so we'll get back to that in a minute. But let's scroll down here just a little bit, and I'm going to blow this up. What in the world is going on, family? Familambagacious. What is going on? So if you look over here, and I'll blow it up a little bit more for you, you will see something very, very peculiar. Now, hi, Sunchild. Thank you. I love your name. She said, the Sunchild says they love my energy, and I love your name and your energy as well. So watch the clock, family. What is going on here with this debt clock? Yes, Alexa said that the RV has a some type of date. I can't remember how she said it, but something like a possible date. But I'm gonna show it to you, January 31st. So hold on, family. Texas is in the house. So listen, here on the United States debt clock, it says the dollar to oil ratio is $0 per barrel. $0? What's going on? Oh my goodness. And the dollar to silver ratio is $0 per ounce. Well, just last week, we reported that it was 400 and something an ounce. And last year it was 2,000 something per ounce. And the year before that was $4,700 per ounce. So why is it now reporting at $0? The dollar to gold ratio is $0 per ounce on the debt clock. Excuse me. And it makes us wonder what in the world is going on here. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Y'all know I can't see it. I can remind you that again, we're reporting that the United States national debt is right now at 31,516,595,200 and something $1,000. This debt has reached its ceiling. So I want to tell you why I'm excited. I'll tell you why some people are not excited, but why I am excited about this, because this is a new time, and that's why I have on my gold dress. It's why I couldn't decide between my silver earrings with little diamonds and my gold earrings, and I got on some gold and silver and my silver fingernail polish, because we are moving to a new era. Now, let's look at we saw the United States debt clock, and I'm gonna slow down just a little bit. Let's look at what's going on with the United States Incorporated. So I'll tell you what's going on with United States Incorporated. We already know that the United States Incorporated has been bankrupt, okay? And we already know that it is kaput, bankrupt, kaput, gone, done away with. But they have to do certain things to awaken the people, to shake them up, okay? To wake them up and let them know that this whole system that we've been on is gone, is kaput. So the United States has hit its debt limit. And that is why you saw the debt clock say that our debt is at what, $31 trillion. And I'll show you that again. So the United States has reached the debt limit. And so that says, now what? Well, in one of the articles that I posted the other day, and I did a video about that, Janet Yellen, who my good friend Mel Carmine said, we need to stop talking about her in that old world. So I was going to say it one more time. Janet Yellen said in a statement that the United States has reached the debt ceiling. It can't go anymore. And that debt ceiling, that amount is $31 trillion. Now it's $31,500 billion. So it's over 31 trillion. Now, what she said is, this is monumental, so we're going to have to take extraordinary measures. And her answer or retort to this high debt ceiling was dipping into the retirement, or in what she called investment retirement accounts of United States government workers and United States postal workers. So she made this announcement that basically the United States would bail themselves out by doing a bail in and taking our money. But we're not standing for that. I can't go for that. No,
lady.
That body standing for. I just think that this corporation and these bad entities are making in order to get us upset on one hand, to get us angry, to be afraid, to emit loose that psychic energy that we emit when we're upset or we're traumatized. Oh, that's what they want for us. But over here, we're already prepared. We knew the game. We knew it would happen, right? Why? How did we know? Because we understand and overstand that at the end of every empire, they spend up all the money, they print as much money as they can, they rack up all the debt, and then they crash the system and move to a new sound monetary system backed by gold. So we over here understand and understand that this is the end of their system. They call it a crack, boom, it's over, kaput. Now, if you've been listening and following me and following people like Big Swear and listening to Andy Schectman of Miles Franklin or Chris Marcus of Arcadia Economics, if you've been listening to certain people, Mark Z, and certain people in the Intel community who've been telling you that the system is crashing, then you knew to prepare. And how were people preparing? Some people took their savings out of their retirement. Some people, I'm not telling you what to do, and some people took it out of the stock market because the stock market is supposed to collapse. And they either put it in, liquidated it and took those dollars and put it in their own possession, or they rolled it over into precious metals like silver, gold, palladium, platinum, copper, and all those metals, or they put it into land, farmland, homesteading. They found another way to hide their money. But we do know over here that the thing about rolling over your money into silver and gold is that silver and gold are wealth. And it is a hedge. Those precious metals are a hedge against inflation. And silver and gold are precious metals. They maintain their value and they retain their value and increase in value. So somebody say increase, increase, increase. It increases in value. So this is how we knew to prepare. Hello, family. So even though Janet Yellen said that, they reached the debt limit and that they would possibly still take money from our accounts, we're not worried. Now, the reason why some people are not worried is because they know that what's in their bank accounts is mirrored on the Quantum Financial accounts. Okay, so they feel that after this whole system is over, then the money will be restored, or it will show on these accounts, in their Quantum accounts, that the money is still there. Now, personally, I hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. So I kind of followed what some of the other people did and left only enough in the bank accounts, especially when we reported that people were finding out that their money was missing from their accounts. And some of the people went into Bank of America and their accounts were completely closed. So I followed the crowd that just left only enough in there to pay bills, and then found other ways to roll over my money and protect my money or protect my savings. Because what you will see when you report things like the United States reaching a debt limit, and what you will see when you report things like banks confiscating people's accounts, like they did in Bank of America, and closing their accounts like they did at some banks in different parts of the world, you're going to see people make what's called bank runs. So a bank run is when people, they panic, or they get concerned, or they become alarmed, or maybe they're just aware, and they go take their monies out of the bank. Now, when that happens and people rush to the banks to get their money out, simultaneously, you're going to see people rush to gold and silver. Because even though historically people and economists and traditional economists have said that, or conventional economists have said, gold is a relic, silver is a relic, don't trust it, trust the stock market. Everybody knows, that people who study history they know that a safe haven for your money is silver and gold, or precious metals. So what you're going to see, Shalom Aleichem and Assalamu Alaikum family, is people starting to do bank runs and roll over their money into silver and gold. And when that happens, that high demand is going to cause people to flood the market, the precious metals market, and then you may see a dwindling of the supply, a dwindling. So you know when demand is high, that impacts the supply. So we know that the earth is abundant, and there's plenty of silver and gold around, under the ground, and some above the ground. However, you have to keep in mind how much access the wholesalers have to that silver and gold that has been mined, and how much of it silver and gold needs to be mined to pass on to the wholesalers, who will then pass on the product to the dealers like Miles Franklin and other dealers and your local coin dealers, and then that will pass on to you. So family, be proactive. Do not wait. Find out how you can protect your money and do that. Some people say if you do not have it to invest in silver or gold, consider other assets, digital assets. And by the way, we did have a conversation with Mel Carmine from XRP QFS Team 1, and we did a wonderful interview whereby he taught us the importance of digital assets and how you can invest and how you can put them in your own possession. So we'll probably upload that either later on tonight or tomorrow morning. So here's the thing, family. Things are happening. Okay, we already told you that mainstream media is now reporting things that we've been saying for a very long time. We told you that we've reached the debt limit. We told you we reached the debt limit. What else are we going to tell you? Oh, this was in Zero Hedge.
I only like to do it for the winners. Always moving forward.
ZeroHedge.com. A dollar collapse is in motion. Saudi Arabia signals the end of the petrodollar. So it says here, the decline of a currency's world reserve status is often a long process rife with denials. There are numerous economic experts out there that have been dismissing any and all warnings of a dollar collapse for years, but they should have listened. They just didn't get it, or they didn't want to get it. the idea that the U.S. currency could ever be dethroned as the de facto global trade mechanism was impossible in their minds. But let me tell you why they were wrong. They were wrong because there is an agreement that was made that we now know is called Project Sandman. And that agreement simply stated, it says in the articles that 100 plus nations agreed to return to the gold standard. But we know that 209 nations agreed to drop the United States dollar and return to the gold standard. So this is why I asked, did the dollar just drop to zero? I mean, even if it didn't drop to zero, in reality, theoretically, it may have, because you all know that many countries, and I've been reporting this, have dropped the United States dollar and fled to gold and silver. Now, the reason why that article just a minute ago mentioned Saudi Arabia signaling the end of the petrodollar is because, and I keep iterating this over and over or reiterating, but let me just say it. Saudi Arabia was mentioned because what made the United States dollar the world's reserve currency, or the currency used all over the globe for trade, is our agreement with Saudi Arabia. We protect the Saudi empire in exchange for their oil, and then we would force all countries all over the globe to use the dollar for oil and for trade all over the world for other items. And if these countries did not listen to us, we would just send nuclear bombs over there, or we would just go to war with them. So what we have backing up our world reserve currency status is the United States military. So when Russia left the United States dollar after 46 sanctioned him for going over in the ukulele, I keep saying it over and over, Vladimir Putin just said, okay, I'm done. I'm going to drop the United States dollar for trade, and I'm going to go to a basket of currencies backed by gold. Now, when this article first broke and this news first broke that 46 had put sanctions on Vladimir Putin, people would not tell you that he was going to gold. They just said, oh, he just said he'll go to a basket of currencies. But I said, Dr. Pruitt said, he's going to go to gold. And if he goes to a basket of currencies, it will be backed by gold. So people didn't want to be the first ones to come out and say that, but I'm not scared. I'm not afraid. I'm not scared. I ain't never scared. Okay, I'm from the projects of Cleveland, Ohio, 40th and Central. I ain't never scared. Okay, I'm going to speak the truth. I knew that Vladimir Putin was going to return to the gold standard because I understood that 209 countries had agreed to return to the gold standard and world peace. And they did this years ago. Now, I found out about this like in 2017. But again, Vladimir Putin left and went to the gold standard, which is why the Russian ruble was reported as being the strongest currency at one time. I think it was about October and November, because he left the United States dollar and he went to gold and using his currency, which was backed by gold. Then he led the BRICS nations being, I'm gonna get back to you, being Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, leaving the United States dollar. So the BRICS Union was then empowered to leave the dollar because of Vladimir Putin. Now, Vladimir Putin actually first made that announcement in 2018, but a lot of people didn't know that. I still have that article, and I'm going to bring it back if I remember it, bring it to you. He really made that in 2018, and I made that announcement in 2018, but I looked like I was going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs because nobody else had that information. However, when Putin recently did that in 2022, and then the BRICS Union or BRICS nations did that, that led Saudi Arabia to break our agreement. So when you read the articles, it wouldn't tell you Saudi Arabia was breaking the agreement. I said Saudi Arabia was breaking the agreement because if you know and understood that what made the United States dollar the world reserve currency was our agreement with Saudi Arabia, then you could deduce by way of deductive reasoning, after you look at all the facts, that Saudi Arabia was saying, kick rocks, United States, kick rocks. I'm going over to the gold standard. That ends the United States hegemony. That ends our agreement. So if our agreement with Saudi Arabia made us the currency that everybody used all over the world, and Saudi Arabia left the United States dollar and joined BRICS, then essentially it was over at that moment, kaput, done with. And then what happened after that was that led other countries into doing the same. So when the BRICS Union left the United States dollar and went to the gold standard, that was 40% of the global population leaving the United States dollar and returning to gold. And then when other nations did the same, that was 85% of the global population leaving United States dollar. So let me get back to Project Sandman. Now, this sounds like it could be Project Sandman going on, perhaps, seeing the United States dollar go to zero, or at least looking like zero. At least it looks like zero on the United States debt clock. Now, we already know that the United States dollar has lost 98% of its purchasing power, not just because of the pandemic where they were printing up a whole bunch of money, not just because they just kept on printing money and because of high inflation, but also because all these countries left the United States dollar. And when that happens, all of those dollars then flood back into our country, and it makes inflation go through the roof, and it makes the dollar decrease in value. And as the dollar decreases, we know it's an economic principle, according to Austrian economists, not your conventional Keynesian economists, but as the dollar decreases in value, then gold and silver increases in value. So this is what Project Sandman is. Project Sandman describes a 100+ nation agreement that when triggered, a shotgun trigger, when triggered, we will see those nations simultaneously dump the dollar and abandon the petrodollar. This is happening, family. When this decision is triggered, the dollar and all dollar-denominated assets will plunge to zero literally overnight. Overnight. So that is what Project Sandman is, 100+ nations. But we know it as being 209+ nations. Now, let me tell you all the nations so far, and I've done this before, but I think it's just good to do it again.
If you want your taxes done right and your guaranteed biggest refund, you need to visit freetaxusa.com, where your federal return is always free and your state return is only $14.99.
All the nations that have left the United States dollar and fled to gold and silver as money and to use as trade. Of course, the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, which was 40% of the world population, and then Argentina, Algeria, Iran, the AEU, Nicaragua, Turkey, Indonesia, Senegal, Afghanistan, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, of course, Taiwan. And then after that, they said these are the countries that were invited: Costa Rica, El Salvador, invited to join BRICS. So Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Panama, Bolivia, Chile, Cuba, Ecuador, Peru, Venezuela, Uruguay, Azerbaijan, Mongolia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Vietnam. Now, we also know that Ghana and Zimbabwe not too long ago announced that not only have they left the United States dollar, hey, Karen Sullivan, my homegirl. So after I left Cleveland, my family then moved to Portsmouth, Ohio, and that's where I met my good friend, Karen Sullivan. So those are all of the nations that have left the United States dollar. Yes, come on, free energy. That left the United States dollar and fled to gold. Okay, so basically, essentially, all exporting nations have left the United States dollar and fled to gold. So although we see a destruction and a demolition of the United States dollar and all dollar denominated assets, we know that they're going to do a boom, crash that system, and then follow the yellow brick road, Dorothy, in your silver slippers, not your ruby slippers. So that is what the Wizard of Oz was really about. It was about crashing the old system and moving to a gold and silverback system. Okay, so it was also telling us that there was somebody behind the curtain running things, somebody running this wicked empire. But it was just a little wee person that many people were afraid of because they didn't realize their power. They didn't realize and actualize their sovereignty. They didn't understand and understand that they have reign over their lives. So we're going to follow the yellow brick road in our silver slippers and return to the gold standard. So good things are ahead. Now, you saw me read off that list of all of the nations that have left the United States dollar and returned to the gold standard. And yes, one of those was Afghanistan. So if you have thank you. If you have Afghani currency, you stand to do very well during the revaluation. So the United States dollar is plummeting. And according to Project Sandman, you see that the United States dollar and all dollar denominated assets would plunge to zero. Now, why exactly do we see the debt clock saying that the dollar to the gold is zero, ratio is zero, the dollar to silver ratio, the dollar to oil ratio? We'll answer that question in a minute, or you can answer in the chat why you think that is. So we talked about Project Sandman. We talked about the dollar collapse. Let's see, we talked about the United States Incorporated reaching a debt limit. Now, let's see what else is going on. We do know that the United States media put out an article not long ago, I think it was like 2 days ago, that the stock market will crash. And I don't know if I have that one up here, but let's look at the article that I did just pull up. I mean, this is just beautiful, family. If you didn't know whether or not you've been telling the truth or whether or not this was real, what did they say? If you don't know, now you know, you know, you know. FoxBusiness.com put out an article that says gold and silver boom predicted as the United States hits the debt ceiling and the dollar devalues. Gold and silver boom predicted as the United States hits the debt ceiling and the dollar devalues. So this is real news. This is going on right now. But Fox is now reporting the things that we've been saying for a long time. The United States hit its $31.4 trillion debt ceiling. Now at 31.5 billion. On Thursday, that was January the 19th, after the latest inflation data showed consumer prices still 6.5% higher on an annual basis. So you can see, family, that even the mainstream media, and maybe I should read a little bit about that article, a little bit from that article. Even the mainstream media saying that gold and silver will boom. So if you see the debt clock saying that, you know, the dollar to silver ratio is zero and the dollar to gold ratio is zero, one of two things could be happening. It could be that they're saying it could be that they're rigging the steps. That's huge. So in essence, they're saying that gold jumped 15%, within the last 3 months, and silver jumped 21% within the last 3 months as plummeting stocks pulled the major United States benchmark even lower, and the United States dollar slumped at the time of the printing of this article to just 81 cents of the British pound and 92% of the euro.
Why she trying to talk over the ad? I'm sorry. I'm good. I'm sorry. Why are you trying to talk over the ad though? I don't get that.
So what is it doing now? What is the United States dollar doing now? Because we know that the United States has lost 98% of its purchasing power. But when we return to the gold standard, oh, is there a pop-up, my darling? I didn't see it. Oh, thank you for letting me know. I apologize for that. Is it out now? Hopefully it's out now. When we return to the gold standard, then your money will go further and your spending power will be higher. You have more spending power. So that's that. Happy Friday, everybody. Would you say I should move that page? Is it gone now? Okay, it's gone. Good. Thank you. So the dollar is decreasing in value, but gold and silver will increase in value because it's just an economic principle that when one decreases, their real money increases. So we do know that the Constitution says that the only thing that may be used as money is is silver and gold. And the United States Constitution defines the dollar as a fixed weight in gold. So I think I closed the ad. Is it gone? Hopefully it is. Thank you all so much for helping me out and during this podcast. I truly appreciate it. So let's see what else is going on. Let's see. Well, we talked about all that. And then let me show you something that I just showed everybody the other day. Somebody asked me to show this again tonight, so I will. There was a gentleman, I hope I have his name. He actually commented on one of the pages. What is his name? Gosh, I had his name. You all can hear it. Zero per Virginia, who introduced House Resolution.
What's happening is Bojo from The Drop, and behind me is one of our favorite brands, 8 & 9, which includes those.
There is a first time for everything. Who would have ever thought we would see the day when we saw $0 silver? I'm going to explain exactly what that means in multiple different ways as we explore. In our continuing series, this is actually a video that is recorded very soon after the last video I did on this topic about the dead clock in silver. Many people mistaking the fact that this is not a price that we're looking at for a 1 ounce silver round or silver bar. No, we're looking at the dead clock here. And this is mentioned here as a price per ounce. But it's a dollar to silver ratio. In other words, it's the amount of these paper or digital dollars for every 1 ounce of these silver rounds that are, well, silver in the form of material mined out of the ground year over year. Let's take a look at this. when we highlight this, when we normally see an explanation that pops up here on usdebtclock.org that talks about exactly what it is. And I remember it because I memorized it from doing many of these videos over the course of multiple different years. In fact, if you look at the playlist, which I'll post at the end screen of this video, you will see that I've kept up with this for quite a number of years to see the movement of dollars that have been mined or that have been printed rather, compared to the amount of silvers that have been mined year over year, silver ounces that have been mined year over year. It's really amazing to see. If you go through that playlist, even just looking at the titles, you can see the vast difference that you've seen in all of these the different videos. And people think, well, this is insane. This something's not right here. This seems off. And I understand, but a lot of it is just coming to the grips and grasping exactly what they mean. So I'm going to highlight this now. Let's go over it together. Why in the heck would it be at $0 per ounce when in 1913, when the Federal Reserve was enacted, silver was at $2.65 per ounce? In fact, we're highlighting this now for the dollar to silver ratio in 1913. So you can see here that it says the year-over-year increase in the U.S. M2 money supply in 1913 divided by the yearly world production of silver in 1913 in ounces. So that's from the USGS. And we looked at the USGS website. We really don't garner a whole lot of information from there. But essentially, it is coming from that. They release quarterly reports of it. And so they kind of keep up with that. But they also keep up with the M2 money supply. And so when we look at this and we see here that it is a year-over-year increase in the M2 money supply. So in other words, it's not the amount of dollars that are in circulation now compared to last year. It's the increase over last year's production of dollars. I hope that makes sense to everybody now. And it took me a while to really grasp that because it's the increase in the money supply year after year. This is why it got over to $5,000 per ounce. Not too long ago, during the pandemic, we saw it skyrocket to that. That's the amount of dollars that were being printed for COVID relief, the CARES Act and other things that was done during that time. There was a whole lot of money printed during that course of that time. In fact, we're going to take a look now. Before we look at the explanation for the dollar to silver ratio now, let's take a look at the M2 money supply over the history. Since 1960, at least here that we see, it's been steadily increasing over time. And this accounts to essentially, the amount of money supplied into the economy. And in reality, during a lot of this time, there was a lot. These small little bumps would have been bigger, much bigger back then compared to today when it just is kind of exponentially growing and growing and growing. We first started seeing it here. We say it continued to climb up through the mid 2000s, and then look at here. We had the Great Recession that occurred, and TARP. This is all TARP money right here. That increase, which seems like a blip in comparison to what we saw in 2020. And I started tracking the gold to silver ratio. I think somewhere around this time, about in 2017, if I'm not mistaken. And you can see it just kept growing and growing and growing. It's called quantitative easing to infinity. So look at this. Let's narrow this chart now and take a look at it over the course. See, I'm thinking now, after looking at this and studying it a little bit more, that the debt clock information is probably correct. So when you narrow this down, let's go down even more. We can see what happened in 2020. And all of that money being printed, and it just kept going on, going up at an even greater rate than here before COVID, money creation. Until now, in 2022, we saw tightening by the Federal Reserve, and taking in more money, printing. There's still a lot of money in circulation. That's what this area represents, money in circulation, but there's some of it is being taken out but they're not printing anymore. And so it's a shrinking money supply.
Imagine a distant future where your most ambitious ideas can be made real.
M2 money supply, and that's what we're seeing here. And finally now it has caught up to the debt clock. The asterisk tells the story here. Again, let's read this again. The year-over-year increase. Notice the word increase. It is. I wonder if some people at the debt clock people have been watching my videos on this because they've highlighted the word increase. The year-over-year increase in the M2 money supply divided by the yearly world production of silver. That's total silver ounces in the entire world compared to the U.S. M2 money supply. Now the asterisk says the U.S. M2 money supply is declining year over year. That means it went from, $800 or $900 down to $120 and now to 0 per ounce. Will that number go negative? Likely not. It might just stay 0, but that's the same thing with the dollar ratio, and the gold ratio is down as well too. So let that sink in, folks. That's what it is right now, because for the first time in quite a number of years, we have inflation that is out of control, and they're actually tightening and raising rates. They're going to raise rates again here soon. More tightening is probably coming before it goes the other way. I think it will go the other way because of these last two massive spending measures that have been put into place. And what happens when the two bills, the inflation as they call them, and the most recent one that they passed, a $1.7 trillion bill, you're going to start to see this turn around and go back the other way because it's going to be a congressional mandate. The Fed will have no choice but to print more money because they're not going to be able to get all that tax revenue, I don't think. They're going to try their best. They're going to try their best to get the existing cash out of our hands, which is why they've hired 87,000 new IRS agents to do so. And they're going to come after you and me. We're not the billionaires. We're not the millionaires for sure, but they're going to go after us because recent studies have shown that the audits that have been happening over the last few years have gone after the small guy, and they're not touching the big guys. But nonetheless, there's where it is. So this is silver, $0 per ounce. Now we know what that means. And I do think that they're doing their due diligence here. I think this is right. Let's take a look into the future, shall we? Let's go to 2027 and see what happens then. In 2027, we can see we got a $44 trillion debt here. And they are projecting still. Well, they're still showing it at $0 per ounce in 2027 as well, too. I don't know why. Maybe they because I think just updated, I think today. So these numbers may not be updated yet. There's one for a budget showdown 2027. And I think that's just showing some, I don't know. I don't think that really means or it's going to mean anything to us, but you can see where that is. Let's go back to 2020. And 2020 does not have the precious metals. Oh, let's see, gold, precious metals. Okay, this doesn't have the debt. There it is. Okay, there's nothing there. They don't have those numbers. But you do have my videos to go back to check that in the playlist on my channel if you want to see those. But very interesting indeed. So there it is. What an amazing thing to see. Never seen this before either, to be able to see this kind of activity. Wow. What an amazing turn of events here. $0 per ounce for the dollar to silver ratio. What an amazing time. Let me know what your thoughts are. Again, this is just what they're showing here. And I do think a lot of this has to do with the increase in monetary supply, but understanding that there's still a lot of money floating around, a lot of currency. A lot of this currency, by the way, that's here is not in our hands. It's not in our hands, folks. A lot of this money that's in this area here is in two places, Europe and the stock market. It's on Wall Street and over there. A lot of it is over there and other places around the world. Keep in mind, folks, 60% of all transactions internationally are done with the dollar. That's this thing. So that's where a lot of the money is. It's overseas. But believe you me, when people lose faith in the dollar overseas and in the market, The market goes down, you're going to see an influx of these dollars, which means we could still see hyperinflation that could occur if that does happen. But you think about it, even though it's going down here, still way above where it was right here. And even way above where it was right here in the midst of all this. It's insane. It's absolutely insanity. It's unsustainable what they're doing. But alas, they are doing it anyway. And they're trying to cover for it by coming down just a hair. I don't know. What do you think? I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch. They can't do with silver what they've been doing with money, that's for sure. I'd like to extend a multitude.
I want to try something a little different. If you're in a space that allows you to do so, I want you to close your eyes and take a big breath in. And don't rush the exhale on this. Really give yourself a...
Off, we're going to head to usdebtclock.org. We're going to scroll all the way down until we get to the dollar to silver ratio. We can see up on the top right corner, it is currently at $120 per ounce. And I know what some of you are thinking. That seems like a pretty high number. It seems like they're trying to say that silver should be valued at $120 per ounce. And this is not what they're saying at all. In fact, if you look over to the bottom left, we can see the dollar to gold ratio is only at $873 per ounce. So are they saying that gold should be valued lower than it is right now? No. So what do they mean by the dollar to silver ratio? Well, this website actually has a way where we can look up the definitions of what they're talking about. And this is what they mean. The US dollar to silver ratio now means the year-over-year increase in the US M2 money supply divided by the yearly world production of silver in ounces. So basically, how many ounces of silver have been mined so far this year and how much money has been created. Now, they call it the US M2 money supply, but we know this as how much currency that exists. So yeah. Basically, it's just the ratio of dollars that have been created to silver that has been mined for the year. Now, back in 2020, I made a video talking about this number, and it was much larger than it is today. Here is a screenshot from that video, and as you can see, the dollar to silver ratio was 4,077. Now, this number has nothing to do with the old TV show MASH. It just happened to be a coincidence. But the video was posted in September of 2020, which was around 2.5 years ago. And during that time, there was a large increase in M2, as well as some of the silver mining outfits were actually shutting down because of COVID. So it was kind of the perfect storm, which pushed this number so much higher than it is right now, about 97% higher than what it is today. This chart here is showing inflation going up after the M2 money supply increased, but there was this sharp increase in 2020 and it continued to go up. Remember, there was all the government bailouts, there was the stimulus checks, all that kind of stuff. And then inflation increased after. Inflation went very, very high, went to basically a 40-year high, and now it's coming down slightly as the M2 money supply decreases. But a better chart to look at for that is actually this one down here. And we can read at the bottom, it says, measurement of M2 money supply includes currency in circulation, checking accounts, and savings deposits, calculated as a percentage change from a year earlier monthly. But basically, we can see the massive increase as a percentage in the M2 money supply, and then since it has actually dropped dramatically, even lower than it's been in years past. But with the M2 money supply coming down, you know, silver mining is in full swing right now. And so obviously the dollar to silver ratio is going to decline dramatically from where it was at the peak right here, which is basically when I filmed that video back in in 2020. So what does this mean for silver? Well, here we are looking at the 5-year silver price chart. And as you can see in 2020, when there was that massive increase in M2, we saw silver price spike up. I mean, it went from around $12 an ounce to, almost $30 an ounce. This was a huge jump up in silver spot price in a very short period of time. Now, this was during COVID. There was a lot of uncertainty, and obviously there was many more factors than just the increase in M2, but the markets are very forward thinking. So this obviously did play a big role. I think if we see a massive increase in M2 in the future, and likewise we see a large increase in the dollar to silver ratio, I think this will be very bullish for silver. There's a lot of reasons that silver spot price can spike up. Back in 2022, the high for the year, this was right after the Russian invasion of Ukraine. So geopolitical issues can definitely have an effect on silver spot price, but ultimately the biggest factor and where silver spot price is going to go is the strength of the US dollar. And again, because the markets are forward thinking, when they see this increase in M2, they know there's going to be lots of inflation to follow, and this is going to be bearish for the dollar and bullish for precious metals. So obviously people would try to get in early before the inflation sets in, and we saw this huge spike up back in 2020. So I would keep an eye on the dollar to silver ratio. If I see this number creeping up, 400, 500, 1,000, then I think we are probably going to see another large bump up in silver spot price. Now, the reason for this number to go up, well, there's basically two reasons. One, the silver mines are shutting down. If they're not mining any more silver and M2 money supply basically remains constant, this number is going to go a lot higher. So no silver supply, but still constant demand, silver price is going to shoot up. The other reason that this number would go up is what happened back in 2020, a massive increase in M2. If we see a big increase in M2, the government is creating lots of currency. The Fed is just going bonkers because we're in a recession and, we need more stimulus checks and bailouts and all that kind of stuff. We got to save the economy from this recession. If they go into that mode, bring interest rates back down to zero, all that kind of stuff, this is going to be so bullish for silver. I mean, buckle up. We're going to see silver go way higher than it is now. So regardless of the reason that this number would go up, if we see this number increase dramatically, then this is going to be super bullish for silver. So definitely keep an eye on this. Again, this is usdebtclock.org, and we're looking at the dollar to silver ratio. This is not the only thing that's going to predict silver price going higher, but it definitely is a tool you can utilize. One thing we haven't talked about is the dollar to silver ratio back in 1913. It was only $2.66 back then, and you could attribute this low number to a few things. One of them being our technology for mining silver was not as advanced as it is today, so a lot less silver was being mined. But the main reason the number is so much lower than it is now is because they were creating a lot less currency back in the year 1913. In fact, the reason they chose this year was because that was the year the Fed was created. There was no Federal Reserve System before 1913, and now they're the ones that essentially increase and decrease the currency supply of the US dollar. So the Fed, they're going to keep increasing the currency supply year after year after year. There might be a lull here or there, but in order to keep expanding the economy, they essentially have to continue to grow it. So we know that ultimately, we're never going to go back to a low number like $2.66 per ounce. I think we're pretty much at the bottom at 120, and I will make an updated video if the number goes significantly lower or significantly higher from where it is right now. I certainly think it is interesting that we have seen a 97% drop in the dollar to silver ratio just over the last 2.5 years. I am curious your thoughts. Feel free to put those down below in the comment section. I want to say a massive thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next one. Silver Dragons out.
Wow, Apple. Best Picture. So amazing, right? Yeah. I was in 2 Best Picture nominees last year. Yeah, no, I knew that. You were great. Yeah, you think so? Yeah. Jennifer Lawrence. Selena Gomez documentary. Why don't I have a documentary? Best comedy on TV. I could do TV. Severance is weird. I could do weird. Blackbird. I guess I could do prison. What's going on, Jason?
What up, Timmy? I just wrapped my new Apple Series Chief Award.
Wait, you have a new Apple show?
At this point, who doesn't?
Yeah, who doesn't at this point? Like you just said.
Génial, c'était incroyable.
It's just Sudeikis with a mustache. Scorsese, DiCaprio, De Niro. Hey, Apple, call me.
So silver is unique. Let's look at some of its properties. It's really the only metal that is both considered money and has multiple industrial applications. In fact, it's the first true international currency. It was used as money going back as far as 5,000 years, and it's been in our money almost continuously ever since. In fact, it's only in the last about 50 years or so that silver has been removed from our money as it's no longer part of our coinage. The truth is that today's money really is not in any way comparable to what it used to be. It's only backed by trust. There's nothing of intrinsic value that actually backs today's fiat money. So the question often comes up, is silver a good inflation hedge? Well, let's look at what silver has done, not over thousands of years, but even just over the last 100 years. Today's official inflation rates are running above 8%. And if we look back at the last 100 years, so in 1922, silver was priced at 68 cents an ounce. In the US, the US's own CPI inflation calculator would calculate or would run silver up to about $11.63 today using that rate of inflation. Yet silver is today priced above $19.50. So over the last 100 years, silver has actually nearly doubled the official inflation rate in the US of around 3% or so. So on that basis, silver has certainly done a great job as an inflation hedge, as I say, nearly doubling the official rate of inflation. Let's look at sources of demand for silver. So as I said, silver is both money and an industrial metal. About half of silver demand comes from industry, and a lot of that is things like solar panels, EVs, medical applications, electronics, and electrical applications. And then most of the other half of silver demand is some form of investment, things like coins and bars, jewelry, silverware, and photography. What we've noticed in the last few years is that investment demand has been exploding, especially as inflation has been climbing tremendously. And we know also that silver has been experiencing considerable supply shortages. And so let's look now at a few of the industrial applications for silver. Consider that silver is really the most reflective and conductive of all metals. In fact, that helps to make it crucial in technology applications. The single biggest use of silver of any kind is solar panels. That represents 12% of all demand. And that's about 113 million ounces out of about 1 billion ounces of total supply every year. And with the green revolution, the demand for solar panels certainly is increasing and increasing dramatically. The automotive sector actually is seeing some very strong growth as well. EVs that are becoming a lot more common use twice as much silver as internal combustion engine vehicles. Current use in the automotive sector is about 60 million ounces a year, and that's expected to grow to about 90 million ounces, or by 50% just over the next few years. In electronics, printed and flexible electronics, the current consumption is about 50 million ounces a year. That's also expected to grow by 50%, but over a little bit longer, by about 2030 or so. 50% more silver will go into electronics. And medicine is a big use for silver. It's been known for thousands of years to be a biocide, so it kills bacteria, it limits infections, it's embedded in medical equipment, so you find silver in nanoparticles, in cornea replacements, and even in contact lenses. So all of this means a whole lot more demand for silver, and supply simply can't meet that demand. Supply has been growing, but very modestly, and yet demand has been growing much more rapidly. And that's why the Silver Institute forecasts that we're going to see supply deficits continue for the next several years. We had a big deficit in 2021 by about 50 million ounces. Forecast is over 70 million ounces for this year. Again, deficits are expected to persist for several more years into the future. We've looked at this before, but it bears repeating. Some recent research looks at whether silver makes sense in a portfolio, an investment portfolio that's well diversified. So Oxford Economics, together with the Silver Institute, ran several simulations for different variations of allocations to different asset classes. Things like stocks and bonds from developing economies, as well as gold and commodities. So a diversified portfolio that includes some silver shows that including silver to different degrees will actually help lessen your risk and increase your returns. So a low risk portfolio in the last 23 years would have held about 4.4% silver, a medium risk portfolio 4.9%, and a high risk portfolio about 4.7%. Oxford Economics decided to look at the next 10 years and their forecasts for global returns worldwide on different kinds of asset classes again. And given that silver has lagged gold's performance in the last few years, they feel that it has more upside potential and less downside potential, and therefore higher allocation towards silver would probably help, again, lessen risk and increase returns. So their forecast for a low risk portfolio was about 5.6% over the next 10 years, a medium risk portfolio 6% allocation to silver, and a high risk portfolio 5.8%. So according to Oxford, it definitely would make sense to include some amount of silver, ideally likely 6% over the next 10 years, to again lessen risk and maximize returns for an average portfolio. So if you're going to invest in silver, what are your options? There's physical silver, which is the lowest risk, things like coins and bars. The issue with that right now is that premiums are very high, in some cases as much as 100% over the spot price. Then you can look at physically backed silver ETFs. Do your due diligence. Consider here that they're not all the same in terms of how they are built, in terms of reliability and the actual silver being there to back the ETF. Then you have silver miner ETFs, which is like a stock, a basket of multiple silver equities. You have royalty and streaming companies, large producers. You have growing producers, developers, and then finally junior explorers. So a number of analysts are seeing much higher silver prices over the next few years. Rick Rule sees silver in the next 5 years north of $50. Keith Neumeyer of First Majestic thinks we'll see triple-digit silver in this cycle. Citigroup expects $40 within a year and as much as $50 to $100 in the coming years. Gehring and Rosenzweig, which manages large commodity funds, actually sees as much as $500 this decade. Chen Lin, another analyst, sees silver as the next lithium, which was up 10 times in a year, and thinks that anyone who sells their silver at $30 to $40 in the next few years will regret it. In my view, I see silver able to go as high as $300 in this bull market.
We're very expensive. You know why we're very expensive? Because someone like you is greatly skeptical and think it'll be not valuable. And when we show you it's very valuable, we expect you to pay us a lot of money.
Yep. Brian Cooks, what's good? You're the first one in here. What's going on? Shout out to you. Let's let the home team in real quick. Happy Monday. Happy Memorial Day. Let's let the home team in.
What up, y'all?
Final days of May are upon us.
No days off. No days off. Rain, drought, blizzard, holidays. Still got to show up. The market is closed, but Market Monday is open. So, hope you guys had a great holiday weekend. Was safe, enjoyed it with your family, friends, whatever you decide to do. So yeah, you know, we here.
We back.
We here on a holiday.
That's
No excuse.
Anybody barbecue? You got any barbecue today? Nobody was outside today. Nothing grilling.
No days off.
Mike Dolo, what's going on, my guy? I see you. Let's let the good brother in.
A lot to talk about today. And we're going to have an exciting summer.
How y'all doing?
Good.
I see a smoothie cup.
You already know. Shawty, how you doing? They say our generation can't barbecue.
Yeah, is that what happened?
What's going around?
Damn.
That's what they say.
Damn.
Sheesh. What's good with you?
Man, I'm good. I had a great time this weekend. It was good to see you.
Of course.
Shawty, I know you was being daddy. I saw you out there with the drills.
yeah. Trying to get them right. You know?
Shout out to Nas. Future New York Knick.
Shout out to you, my good brother. You were on that stage. I was in attendance watching that as a supporter, but as a fan of your work, man. So shout out to you. And shout out to the EYL Network team was out there. Shout out to 19 Keys who touched that stage.
Yeah.
He lit the joint on fire. Shout out to Ash Cash who touched that stage. He did an amazing job. And shout out to him for putting on this event. And shout out to everybody that pulled up on us at our merch table. Met some incredible people, heard some amazing stories, some young entrepreneurs, and some people that's just ready to go, man. They've been following our journey, and it's led them to start their own. So shout out to all of y'all. I actually ran up to see shout out to Cesar Pena.
Oh, yeah.
He got something major brewing. We spoke about it we actually flew back together, so shout out to him.
Oh, that's dope. So, yeah, shout out to Mike Bam, Neo. I was supposed to wear the stuff today, but it's hot in Vegas. So on the next show, when I get back, I got you. Shout out to Circle of CEOs. And yeah, I was just telling Marcus, like, thank you for having me on stage. And Troy, thank you for being there. Like, you've heard me go through this 100 times, but to have you there and be like, you did your thing, that means a lot. So for everybody who showed up, all my Red Panda family, shout out to the Red Panda family here and those who went back home. Y'all can talk. Y'all follow yourselves.
Somebody playing 2K in the back.
They're over there getting in. What's the next?
$50 a game. Nah, it's $50 a game.
Hey, they said it's $50 a game. Hey, let's get to it. So yeah, it was good. It was a blessing. It was a real blessing.
Nah, for sure, man. Shout out to him, 500. A good friend of mine. I wasn't able to make it, but I heard the event was amazing. I saw it on Instagram and all that. So, you know, continue to push the culture forward. Very important situation. So let's get into this. I'll make some announcements. This week, big episode. We dropping one of our London episodes for EYL that we did. So Soul Cap is an interesting one of these things. You can always make money off of the littlest things in life. So swimming caps, you know, a lot of times, especially for Black women, swimming caps aren't really conducive for their hair. So this brother out in London, he actually made a swimming cap made for Black people, for Black women specifically, Soul Cap. And it took off like wildfire. And it's one of these things. It was actually, a woman was actually wearing it at the Olympics, and they tried to ban her from wearing it because it wasn't regulated. Like it didn't fit the regulations.
Just that her head size wasn't regulated.
Yeah. So it was a whole thing. But it's a really dope story about, entrepreneurship, finding a niche and really just, making a lot of money off of something that, is very easy. People we see swim caps all the time, but who thought about, and that's one of the key things with business too, is to find something that serves a need. So if you know that, Black women spend billions of dollars on their hair and they don't want to get their hair wet. That's one thing. Like when they're not trying to get their hair wet. They're not trying to get their hair wet. Whether it's natural hair, whether it's not natural hair, the common denominator is that they don't want to get it wet. So now you say, okay, people swim all the time. You go to the ocean, you go to the pools, you go to hot tub, whatever. It would make sense to have a product that Black women can use and all over the world. It's not just an American thing. Like I said, he's based in the UK, but you got Africa, you got the Caribbean, you got, America. So dope. Long story short, dope episode tomorrow. Shout out to the UK family.
It's encouraging for men too. I don't want to just exclude us out of it. So, it really was for people who had hair, texture curly hair, like even gentlemen who have braids, right? It discourages them from getting in the water. And so like what Shadi said, if you can find something that can add value to the world, chances are you're going to be successful. And so they saw the amount of people and the percentage of African Americans specifically who didn't swim and didn't know how. In fact, they, as creators of the brand, didn't know how to swim. That's how they kind of met. So it's a beautiful story, and definitely support them. They actually sent us some soul caps, so we will have those. Our kids will have those this summer when you see them out at the beach or at the pool. Shout out to the soul cap team.
Yeah. So
if I could chime in, one thing I want you guys to write down, and because I think you may have missed it, who's listening, there is a lot of money and being comfortable being yourself and catering to who you are. I know a lot of times in the 90s, it'd be like, hey, I need to go sell to Macy's or Nordstrom. I'm like, but if you focus on the community that you are a part of, it's a hell of a lot better business model. And you've seen us both do it at scale. Tune in tomorrow to the episode. It's going to be a great one. And also with every episode that puts out, look at it like this. Every piece of information that you get, look at it as every gem that you get, you compound them on top of each other. So even if you're not in this industry, I know some of you are like, I'm not going to tune into that because it's not my industry. It may be one idea in there that your industry is not doing that you can take from what you're going to learn tomorrow, and it'll have a huge impact on your business. I mean, if you ever told anybody that an investor would curse on air, I don't think it would go well, right? But it's a combination of ideas that makes a business work incredibly well. So I just wanted to chime in on that. I'm looking forward to the episode tomorrow too.
Appreciate that.
Of course.
And then this weekend we will be in Philadelphia for the Roots Picnic, big festival that they do in Philly every year. Some of the headliners you may be familiar with: Mary J. Blige,
probably heard of it.
WizKid, Rick Ross,
Thames, Jasmine Sullivan. I think we got Ari Lennox is there too. It's a
that's
great
a vibe.
It's one of those.
And that's just the performance. We actually got a whole podcast situation.
Well, I was getting there. So shout out to my brother Gilly and Wallow.
Yeah.
So this year, what they're doing different from previous years is they got the musical performances, but they also got the podcast performances, and they have podcast stage. And you can't have a festival and have a podcast stage without having EYL grace the stage. So we will be in the building. Shout out to Wallow for setting that up. I really appreciate it. We're gonna bring the family with us. So I believe Ian, correct me if I'm wrong. Ian.
No, no need to correct. I'll be there, but me, Xander the star. Xander will be there. Xander does not sign autographs unless you pay him $100 per. Shout out to those of you who met him in Dallas. But yeah, I'll definitely be there. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be crazy.
Ian will be there in 19 Keys. So, that's a deadly combination. So,
speaking of them.
High level conversation.
The new episode featuring none other.
Part 2 will be out on Friday. Part 2.
Catch up with this later.